Welcome to the Friendly Aussie podcast.
Welcome.
And today we have Tom Brown from Honahlee, Australia's go-to resource for medical cannabis information.
That's right. How you going, Tom?
Great. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
Tom's decided to fly up from Melbourne to come greet us,
Only reason I'm here.
It's the only reason, really.
Our northerners.
Yeah. Welcome to Brizzy. How do you like Brizzy?
It's good. Well, earlier my wife said that, like in Melbourne, it feels like you're always driving a bit more straight, but here we're making left and right every second.
Oh, yeah. It's a windy territory.
It is. It's
Yeah,
pretty
windy, hilly, really confusing.
It's actually fun to drive around sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, I've had one day of a little bit of driving, and it was nice. I got lost once or twice, but it was good.
I get lost on the daily here. I just refuse to use the GPS.
Yeah, that's right.
No, actually, I look up on the GPS, where do I need to go? And then I'm like, okay, yep.
A crack, yeah.
And then I'm like, yep. I'll get to maybe 2 kilometers from where I need to be. And then I'll be like, oh, fuck, should I look it up? I still won't. And then I'll get lost. Then I'll look it up.
You're trying to commit it to memory, are you?
Yeah, I won't give in to the machines.
You ever on time? You ever on time?
Never.
Yeah.
Literally never. That's a fact. I'm never, ever, ever on
If you're
time.
working with map and compass, you're always going to be late. So
Yeah, it's fine. I'm all right with that.
it's fair enough.
So Honahlee, how did Honahlee start? Where did it come from? What does it even mean?
What is it?
Wow.
I know what it means.
Well, yeah. I mean, I guess so. Let's start with where it came from. So, for me, cannabis has always been a part of my life. Like, I started smoking when I was young. I think I was 14 when I first started smoking, and as soon as I did that, I saw that people around me were using it outside of just recreational purposes, and so that was kind of my first realization that maybe it was a little bit more than just weed that I want to smoke to get high and have a laugh. And then I actually stopped smoking in college, and then when I moved out here, I wanted to find some weed again and asked around and couldn't really find it from the group of people I was kind of friendly with at the time. And I was really surprised about that, but eventually I found it, but I never really found anything that was as good as what we had in America.
Right.
And so then I moved here about 10 years ago. I met Cara, who's sitting next to me. People are listening. They can't see me pointing at her.
He's pointing. I can confirm it.
Yeah. And I remember the first time that we smoked, she was like, man, I feel good. I'm like, yeah, it's because you're high. And she's like, no, but I feel good, healthy. And Cara has fibromyalgia and PTSD and everything.
Right.
And that was, again, for me, where I was like, oh, hang on. This is something, I remembered that, and we talked about it. And it kind of took me back to, this is more of a medicine. And I have a back problem. So I've always used cannabis, but I was always like, I never really thought about it that way. And now that's the only painkiller I use. But that was a long way to get to where Honahlee came from. And so then in end of 2018, I was kind of getting sick of my jobs. I've been in startups since I moved out here, so a lot of changes. And we were like, it would be cool to start a business, And I was talking with Cara and my business partner, and we said, well, what about weed? How can we get involved in that space? And I started, it's like, when you say something and then you start seeing it everywhere. I saw a few articles about now's the time to get into cannabis if you want to. In Australia, it's behind, but this is the ground floor. And so we started just tossing around ideas on how we could do that. And then I got made redundant for the second time in 3 years, about 6 months later. And we were like, let's just see what people know here. And so, Friendly Aussie Buds was one of the only kind of weed cannabis sites that was out there at the time.
And that was 2018. So that was when we just started too.
Yeah. It was great. But it was end of 2018. So probably early 2019.
I'm with you.
And it was great. And we were like, but this isn't going to be for everyone.
That's right.
And we know that. We love it. But how can we actually, and medicinal had kind of really begun to become more, I guess, mainstream, even though it's not. And so we were like, well, how can we actually help educate people in a bit more of a neutral way? So not purely medical, but not purely recreational. And that's where we, Honahlee, you asked where the name came from. We were like, what's kind of something that those who are stoner or regular users will know? And that was Honahlee, Puff the Magic Dragon lived by the sea in a land called Honahlee. And then from a brand perspective, we went, well, for us, that's great, because that was this place where Jackie Paper meets his friend Puff and they have a great life. For us, Honahlee is a place where you can come to learn about cannabis, to engage in that kind of community, whether you're, purely medicinal or purely recreational or somewhere in between. And, you know, we want to create that space where it's, you know, everyone kind of feels like they can go there, and you don't have to stick around, you don't have to stay. And we're not about saying, you know, oh, you should smoke pot, or, you know, you should use cannabis as medicine, or whatever it is. We just want you to have all the information so you can decide. So that's kind of where it came from, why it happened. And yeah, it's just impacted a lot of people in my life. And yeah, that's how we, I guess, decided to get into the space.
That's great. I really love that, you know, there's a unique, informative, adductive purpose behind what Honahlee is all about. And I think the way that you've presented it is very professional. Like, people who are outside of the cannabis community can understand this information very well.
Yeah, thanks, man. So, like, that's what we want to do. And I think, you know, what's cool is that we want to work with guys like you. We want to work with the medical industry. But we want to show everyone in doing that we're all the same, we're all equal, right?
Yeah,
like, it doesn't matter if you smoke joints, hit a bong, as long as you're doing it in a way that isn't like is helpful to you in some way. That's it. That's all that matters, right?
Yeah, we agree with that. There's a real importance of, well, maintaining balance on the whole question of why people use cannabis in general. The question is different for everybody. They all have different answers. Yeah. And coming at it from different perspectives, I think, is very important at this very fledgling moment in Australia's cannabis community and industry.
Yeah. And I think, like, you know, being at Mardi Gras the other day, that was my first view into, like, the Australian kind of
culture
and like kind of the roots of it, I guess it feels like. And it just shows you, man, everyone's so welcoming, so friendly, so accepting, so happy. You know, if
it's a good vibe.
Yeah, it's a great vibe. And if you could kind of, if you could take that perception of it away, and people could go and just realize what it actually is. It's just a bunch of people coming together to enjoy each other, to enjoy weed in whatever form it is for them. And again, it's people from all different backgrounds and jobs and whatever, and everyone's there to have for the same reason. It's great. Like, it's really awesome.
It's so amazing when you see people you'd never expect to be speaking to each other. Like, how does that guy fit with that guy? And it's like, there's one thing that connects them. Could be a joint. But like, that's what I really noticed at Mardi Gras. It's like anyone and everyone is there. Like, mums, dads that are like foreigners. I was like, what the fuck? This is like my dad. It's like, I don't expect to see that. And they're there, and it's like, why? And it's like, because it's a good day out. And the community just coming around, because that was the first cannabis event since the Health, Hemp and Innovation Expo in 2019 in October.
Wow.
So
COVID,
it's been a while.
I went to that one, but not this one.
That's where we had our stall.
Okay.
Yeah, nice. So that's where I felt like our brand became a brand, actually. That was nice. Like that moment. We handed out like 4,000-5,000 stickers.
Cool.
That was a lot of the fuck PGR stuff. But like,
met a lot of really cool people.
That's where we met the actual industry and the community and all that. And suddenly then it started to feel like, oh, okay, we're actually a part of this. Before that, it was like, we're just some guys on the internet that are speaking shit. Like,
that's cool too, though.
Oh, I wasn't mad about it. It was just, it's like, once you step over on the other side, it's like, oh, okay, that's right. There are people like us.
We're all doing pretty much the same thing, you know?
What's cool. What are there medical, like, are there doctors and stuff at that as well?
There were doctors at the Mardi Gras. There was two that I knew. There was the Plant Med Clinic. They had like a big booth. And then there was the Healing Pot guy. He's from like rural New South Wales. He's got a clinic.
I missed it.
But they're really, I think, quite a small clinic. But I've got to get back in touch with him.
I meant the HHI, but that's great too.
Yeah.
So are there doctors at the HHI?
Yeah, there's heaps of doctors at the HHI.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, they all have booths and stuff because they're all trying to find, you know, potential leads and get their brand and awareness out. So like HHI had doctors, hydro stores. Like you had the Hemp Embassy come from Nimbin, so you had Michael and all those guys. I don't know if Michael.
You had the Magic Butter people and a lot of
Butter people,
companies, you know,
and then product people.
Okay, interesting. And at going back to Mardi Gras, the Plant Med, they have the cannabis. Is it the Cannabis Broadcasting Network now?
Yeah, that's a new thing they're doing. CBN.
CBN.
Yeah, it's really cool. I don't know when that's coming, but it's coming pretty this year sometime. And they're looking to build kind of, let's call it an Aussie cannabis video multimedia platform.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's something we're probably going to be a little involved with, but nothing too hectic at this stage.
It would be great to be involved.
Yeah, we're going to just help
really
where we can. That's really all it is, because they're in Brizzy, so it makes it a little easy to collaborate.
Yeah, nice. That's great. Yeah, I spoke with them for a bit. They're actually going to be helping us with drive change as well, which will be cool.
That's really good.
To bring that up. This, like Mardi Gras, you had some statistics that less than 2% of people who were tested actually were testing positive.
Yeah. Did you see that?
I think David said that, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember. No, I hadn't seen that.
There was 29 people that got
out of 1,500.
Out of over 1,500.
Oh, this is at Mardi Gras.
At Mardi Gras.
Oh shit! No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, so that was, it worked out to, I think we did the math, 1.9% or something like that.
Wow.
Which is like pretty crazy when you think about maybe $250,000+ worth of expenses.
And that just shows that there's a lot of responsible people on the road, and also that generally the idea that people are coming home like inebriated from the festival, it's a bit of a misnomer.
Yeah.
You know?
But also I know one of the people who was busted there is a patient, and actually two of them are patients, and again, they weren't
doesn't make
impaired,
sense, does it?
so
Right.
it still doesn't make sense.
Yeah, totally.
So I get what your point is. Yeah, like people are being very responsible, but even then, the people that they're catching are also
Legal
being
patients.
responsible.
You're 100%
like,
right.
that's a real challenge.
One thing about the legal patients that got caught, though, they might have been in the camp where the police actually just issued a fine and took their keys, and they just couldn't drive for 24 hours. So apparently they weren't exactly charging everyone this time round. Last time it was always like you need to go to court, you have to like kind of get your license back effectively. This time it was kind of more like a warning fine thing, which is kind of weird.
So has that been proven though? Because sometimes the police will say that they're only going to give you a fine, and I actually asked this to David after. So for I guess everyone listening, David is David Heilpern. He's an ex-magistrate in New South Wales and retired. Retired partially because of these laws. He was sick of seeing people come before him with this same exact, or being busted when they were patients or not impaired. And so we're working on the Drive Change campaign together, which is why we were there, or I was there, I should say.
Cool.
And after I heard about the police saying that it was just going to be a fine, I asked him, I said, oh, is that the case? And he goes, maybe, but quite often what will happen is they'll tell you that, and then you pay the fine, but as soon as you pay the fine, you're admitting guilt, and therefore you lose your license for 3 months.
Whoa.
Yes. So you just need to actually check, like, that is not a lie that you're getting a fine, right?
Sure.
But you may lose your license as soon as you pay that fine.
That's important information.
Yes.
So we never pay the fine.
That's one way of going
Come
about
at me.
I think they would eventually.
Yeah, I was wondering how it worked if you got pinged in New South Wales, but you're from Queensland. Like,
yes, someone did ask that question. Do you remember what the answer was? That's me asking my wife.
I think it was the state of.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
That you're punished
if you're in the state.
Yeah.
Then that
Yes.
stands.
And that is right, because then what David said was that if you plead guilty, you can then transfer the court to a local court if you want, and I probably shouldn't say what I was going to say anyway. then there's effectively, if your lawyers or people who are helping you with your cause know the magistrates in the area, you can potentially get your case transferred to another more kind jurisdiction, and
I see.
and maybe have a better chance of actually not being punished for just having presence, not being impaired, which is the bigger problem.
Yeah.
So
like, talking about the Drive Change campaign, what's the general thrust for people who aren't aware?
Yeah, cool. So Drive Change is a campaign to help create equal rights for legal medicinal cannabis patients. So there are two things I'll say about that. One, the context is if you have any or any cannabis in your system as defined by having THC in your saliva, it's illegal to drive, right?
Yes.
Now, for us, with the Drive Change campaign, we decided to focus specifically on legal patients. And the reason for that is simply because, well, we all agree that the mouth swab should be removed.
Sure.
But we don't think that's a very winnable argument just now. and
makes sense.
And what's winnable, very winnable, and it's only winnable because this is completely wrong and it's discriminatory and it makes no sense whatsoever. But if we focus on patients and we can win that, then I guess there are a few things, right? One, we begin to get more data about how many patients are actually the ones who are driving with THC in their system versus how many other are these people actually impaired, right?
That's right.
And then we now have data to build a case for, well, the mouth swabs don't actually work.
Yes,
right?
that's a good point.
Yeah, so there are a lot of reasons that we chose that first, and a lot of people say, well, why not everyone? Well, that's why, because we just don't think it's winnable. We all want to see that happen.
It's a very complex issue.
Yeah, absolutely. And
when you talk to any politician, they're like, well, we have to keep people safe on the roads.
But the problem is that there's no evidence that this is making people safer.
That's right. You're right about that.
And so because there's been no evidence, it just doesn't make sense.
In theory, let's say it's a pain patient, right? What if they're driving on the roads and they've got massive pain and suddenly it hits and it's like,
Absolutely. That is just as much of a hazard.
Yeah. Well, I thought you were going to go completely different direction. but that too. I thought you were going to talk about like opioids and being completely
well,
stoned.
there's that as well.
Yeah.
I'm melting, bro.
Yeah, while you're driving.
There are a lot of medications that cause drowsiness, and it doesn't seem to see the same kind of discriminatory effect.
Yeah,
if you're a
like
patient.
Valium, I think, would be a good one. Like, I reckon that would impact you much more than cannabis driving.
Yeah. I think it depends on how much you
Yeah,
use,
of course, how much you're having.
Sure. And you're 100% right. Like there's no comparison. Like there are studies that show that other drugs are equally or more impairing than cannabis at a certain level, and it just doesn't matter, right? Cannabis is the only, and again, this is another reason why we chose medicine, or legal medication, I should say, is that I've lost my train of thought now.
Patients following.
Maybe.
The patients following an actual amount of a dosage, so you can actually gauge that as well.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
But yeah, I don't know. I was trying to get you.
Yeah, I know you were. I know it wasn't working. It wasn't working.
Legal right, like the anti-discrimination.
Discriminatory. Yes, right. Got it. Back. Thank you.
Don't worry, I'll edit it.
That's why she's here. No, that's okay. You don't have to. It's funny. I did just lose my train of thought.
Yeah,
and I'll probably lose it again now that we've gone off topic again.
That's funny.
We're never on topic here.
Yeah, well, fair enough. It felt like we were doing really well. Yes, because so cannabis or legal medicinal cannabis is the only prescribed drug that doesn't have a defense for presence. So if you're impaired with any drug, you can get done. But if you have a legal prescription for any other drug and you are not impaired, they let you go. But with cannabis,
how do they judge the impairment?
That's a police thing. They just say, it's discretionary. But that's also, they say the roadside swabs are random.
Yeah,
but they're not. They targeted everyone, right? Like, they tested everyone. So. I think realistically the way it would work is if there were, if you get pulled over for cannabis and you're a legal patient, right, they should just let you go unless the cop pulled you over specifically for being impaired. Yeah. Right. But there are tests for impairment as well, and there's a huge argument from the police mainly. Oh well, we want to keep the roads safer, but there's no way to test for impairment. Right. But there are apps out there that are already being proven to do that. So I don't know if you guys have seen Druid, DRUID app. What's that? It's a really cool app. It's come out of the US, and it's an app that can detect impairment from anything. So from any drug. Doesn't matter what the drug is. It'll be able to tell you if you're impaired.
How does it do that?
So it's a gamified thing.
I figured it was like puzzles and things.
Yeah, it's actually really cool. It's free to download, so you should check it out. Like, cool. And so the app actually asks you to test yourself 3 times to give you a baseline. You don't necessarily, and we spoke to the founder about this. You don't actually have to have a baseline. They can actually do it to you 4 times, and or 3 times, and they'll be able to tell if you're impaired.
I see.
But if you do the test yourself, you can kind of give yourself a good baseline. And then do it when you're impaired. I mean, it'll show you you're impaired. You know you're impaired. I've done it. It's cool, and you can really tell. So a mouth swab generally takes about, I think it's like 7 to 10 minutes to do the whole process. Yeah. Whereas to do this once, it takes 2 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Right? So even if you had to do it 3 times,
yes,
you're still cutting down the time on it takes the police to do that.
And there's no cost in it.
No cost in it at all, right? So and then
if you fail it, then you do the swab.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you do the blood
exactly.
test.
So what you're saying is we need to replace the swabs with iPads.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, but that's where technology is, right? Like,
Yeah.
And this app already has some independent research on it, and there are meant to be some papers coming out in the next couple of months, more independent research showing that this app can detect impairment.
I like it. But what if I practice this app like heaps when I'm fucking just at home, and then I just fucking smash it out?
I'm a legend at this game.
Like, you got to realize some of us play games.
I do think that
if you're working that hard to do it, you maybe deserve to get away with it. Like,
good.
On the other hand, it's like, I think on a physical level, physiological level, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I think this is right.
If you are impaired because you've used alcohol or pain medication or even cannabis, it's something that is very measurable. So it doesn't really matter if you're good at the game, because you'll think you're good and you'll end up losing.
Yeah, the numbers will show that you're not good.
Oh, I agree if I was drunk, but man, I reckon I can get high as all fuck and still do it.
Well, I mean, you play enough chess when you're high.
I play so much
Well, why don't you
chess.
download the app
I
while
will.
we're having this conversation?
We
and
actually
at the
need
end-
to test this.
Yeah,
It's a
and
good point.
Yeah.
Test yourself.
Yeah, by the time you get it downloaded and everything, we can wrap up with you doing the test.
All right, well, I'll get it going.
That's
There you go.
funny.
So what's it called? Druid.
Druid. DRUID.
Cool. Well, that's a very interesting one. I've never heard of that.
Yeah,
It's downloading. We'll get to it.
great.
So drive change has come about, and you've managed to get some good people on your side for it.
Yeah.
Who are some of those people?
So we have Lucy Haslam, who so she's an ambassador for Drive Change. I'll list them and then we can say who they are briefly. So Lucy Haslam, Mick Palmer, we have Fiona Patton, we have Tammy Franks, and I feel it, and I think so it's great that this is I'm probably more happy that we've gotten this for Drive Change rather than Honahlee, because I think this will have a much bigger impact, I hope, if we can do the right thing with those people.
Well, in the end, you can just come back to Honahlee after the campaign's successful.
Yeah.
It's just like funnel the same people and, hey, you guys interested?
Yeah,
it works anyway.
Yeah, true.
And then you've already got a big win up your sleeve, so
Yeah.
it helps.
Yeah, it'd be great if we could.
I was just thinking, I have a contact I think I can give you for a whole bunch of musicians.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So that might be a good way to as well, like Aussie musicians. I mean, they're pretty
Yeah.
synonymous with cannabis, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Don't know if they're on the medical schemes, but
Yeah. I'm sure some of them are.
some of them would be.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, that's really what we want to do. Again, we want everyone to come together for Drive Change. It's about bringing the industry, patients, influencers, everyone together I guess it's the one message thing, right? I think you and I have talked about this, Josip, before, like, we look at how some of the political stuff can be very divisive or siloed. How do we get one message from everyone for one thing, whether it be recreational or whatever? That just doesn't often happen. So if we can do that with this, it's
a good start.
Cool. Yeah, it'd be great.
And then we can just keep going. So the drive change will create the next change.
It'll
the next,
drive
and the next.
change.
It will drive literal change. We'll change it from driving laws eventually to a new topic.
We hope to, because when we started Drive Change, we kind of formed a group called the Cannabis Law Reform Alliance.
Awesome.
And so this is kind of our first campaign. Yeah.
Awesome.
So I hope that we're able to longer term do some more interesting,
really cool.
and helpful stuff for everyone. Yeah.
We're excited.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks.
I think there's something about being able to, I don't know, like you were saying, unite different forces within the community under a broad banner, something that everyone can get behind.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's just a sense that, I don't know, that's where opportunities begin to emerge in those spaces. So, I don't know, I wanted to ask you if there's any way our audience could get involved with Drive Change. Is there any way that they can help? Absolutely.
So, I mean, I think that, even if you're not a legal medicinal cannabis patient, right, it's still the number of voices and the number, we're going to have a petition for this. And again, like, most petitions are coming from an individual politician, for example, for a specific place. We haven't discussed this fully yet, but we might have one petition that will kind of just be higher level for everyone. And then we can, say, look, we're going to bring this to Victoria, to New South Wales, to Tasmania. Look at all this. This is from people all over the country, because the reality is we need uniform drug driving laws across Australia. We can't just have Victoria.
It's got to be a federal move.
Yeah, it has to, or else what happens if you drive to Victoria?
Yeah, gosh.
Right? then you're in trouble. So it doesn't make sense, or you're not in trouble there, but here.
Besides, the TGA is a federal agency, isn't it?
Yes, but also remember the TGA doesn't regulate the road rules.
Right, of course.
Yeah, so it's got to be police, and that's why it's so much more important. So so what people can do is just I think the first thing is, the main thing is, right, just spread the word, get the message out there, and tell more people that this is a problem. So have a voice about this, I think, and then, that's what we want generally. But if you want to really get involved, then, going to the website, which is drivechangemc.org.au, going there, guys, signing up for the newsletter, just know what's happening, right? Know what we're doing. And if something resonates with you or a family member or a friend, share it on social. If we have a petition, share it with them. Even if you don't want to sign it, share it. Because someone else will want to help and probably need to help, right, for someone in their family.
Fantastic.
So that's really how you can get involved. Like, we're hoping, and we've already started to get money from industry. Cool. We've had some amazing donations from patients, but that's not what we're looking for. We don't want patients, the people who need this the most, to be supporting it. They shouldn't be. Industry should be supporting this, because also this slows down industry. If patients can't drive when they're prescribed medicinal cannabis, well, that's going to slow down the industry. Right?
Yeah, losing a license is a massive thing.
Yeah. It stops you from driving. It could stop your livelihood if you drive for a living.
That's right.
So many things. So industry should be behind this, and we're beginning to get that. So also, I guess another way, I hadn't really thought about this, but if you are a patient, maybe send your product company a letter saying, hey, get involved in Drive Change. This impacts me and I want you involved, right?
Yeah, that's great advocacy.
Yeah. So whatever people can do to really help us would be help us, because really what we're here is to help you guys,
Sure.
Like, that's it. So
I'll repeat it again, guys. It was drivechangemc.org.au.
Yeah, awesome.
Check it out.
Cool.
Yes, please do.
Yeah, we're pretty excited with that campaign in particular.
Yeah, cool.
And kind of the whole way in which your publication and your online presence relates to law reform, because we're really interested in that as well.
Yeah, nice.
So we'd like to maybe work with you on that in the future.
That'd be cool. Yeah, I think so, absolutely. I'm sure that if you'd have us, David, or even just him, I'm sure David would come on and talk about something with you guys as well about the driving and stuff.
That'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. What are you guys looking to do in that space, or have you been doing?
Honestly, we've been thinking about new slogans to kind of push for reasons to legalize. That's been hitting us a little bit, but we've been pretty slow on Fab this past year. Yeah, kind of building business outside of Fab just to kind of.
We'd like to kind of help the existing industry in a way by constructing something of a very thorough directory.
But the idea of the directory is really just a place for people to leave reviews for cannabis-based businesses, and to also find them. So we're hoping to launch that in the next little bit. We've been working on that for way longer than we should have.
Well, that, for us, right, I think I would love to, maybe once you get that launched, to do an interview with you guys about it, because for us, I think, when you introduced me originally, you said, I think you said something about medicinal cannabis. Yep. That's not actually what our goal is, right? We're here to educate people about all cannabis. So for me, and we, over the next kind of 6 months, it'll begin to show a bit more. Right now, we're still kind of focused in the medicinal space. Right. But we'll begin to transition away from that in a very soft way. But what you guys are talking about is important, right? Because it's for everyone. Again, you can be using all this stuff illegally, and the air quotes here for those of you who can't see me, but need it for a medical purpose. So we want, again, for us, that's education. If you guys are actually providing people a way to connect to that and get good things that aren't going to screw them over or whatever, that's important for them to know. So we'd love to.
We try it on that end, and then we're looking at trying to implement our own kind of version of how to access medicinal cannabis in Australia. But
also just people in the industry, in the community, in politics who are advocates. We'd like to give them platforms, maybe write articles about, the people who are pro-cannabis in Australia.
That
kind of thing.
A little bit of that stuff. But with the access for medicinal cannabis, it's kind of, how do we get the rec users who are using medicinally, which I actually argue is probably most, if they're regularly using.
There's a lot of
them. How do we get them onto the scheme to understand how to actually pitch their case to their TGA to get approval? Because a lot of the time what you'll find is most people are self-medicating for anxiety, depression, PTSD, whatever it is, but they haven't necessarily tried other forms of medication because they've already had cannabis, which has worked for it. And then you've got the medical scheme kind of trying to get them to go, have you at least tried 2 types of medication? So for whatever it is, but a lot of people are like, I don't want to fucking have antidepressants, like even in my system.
But that counts. But the thing is, with the medical, you have to have tried other medications, but other medications isn't really defined. So if, for example, for me, with my back, I had been offered, was it codeine, I think. I actually took it for like a month because we were traveling and I didn't have time to do anything else. But I only took that once, and after that I was like, I don't want it anymore. So for me, for my back, in terms of what
codeine, Panadol.
Codeine, once, but I don't want the side effects. And then regular over-the-counter stuff, and natural stuff is added in as well. So like even saying meditation and yoga for pain, with the right doctor, if they understand that you actually are going to use it as medicine, they can still usually get that across.
Oh, they 100% can. Where I'm really approaching it is that's what people are reading, but that especially on the rec space, and they're like, oh, I'm not eligible because of X. So it's like, how do we get that message across? That it is actually a lot easier than you'd think to get onto the scheme. Like for me, the medical space, even though there is good information out there, it still hasn't become quite clear enough to the general public. That's like it's almost like all you have to do is pay the money and you'll get it.
In some ways we
not
really want to work with
but
we want to find a way to enter into that medicinal process ourselves and like break it down for our audience. So right now Josip is doing
scheme.
Like a bit of a retrospective on the scheme will develop eventually from Josip's view.
Nice.
And then on my end, I'm helping write an article about how to access just cannabidiol, like CBD, from a kind of simple process that can be generally taken to your GP and then move forward.
Yeah, nice.
So I guess that's part of what we're doing at the moment. It's kind of entering into how can we make existing schemes more accessible? How can we educate people about what's out there?
Yeah, awesome. That sounds really good.
So a little bit of that. And then, I don't know, probably have to come up with some more things. Last year we wanted to come up with a card game.
Oh, yeah.
So we do want to release a Friendly Aussie Buds card game.
A few projects just sitting there doing nothing at the moment.
Yeah.
That's how it goes sometimes.
Those little ones, but we want to make a pretty fun card game that's kind of built on like lies, like snitches versus cops.
Okay.
Or snitches versus bros or something. What did we call it? I don't even know now.
Stoners.
Stoners versus snitches.
There you go.
Stoner trying to explain the game he came up with last year. So a little bit of that. And then I guess actually one of the things we are looking to do is we're looking to work more and more with, because of the directory, more businesses.
Yeah.
So the idea is, a little bit of sponsored content and that sort of thing, but not sponsored content in the sense of like shelling them out. It's just, highlighting something that they're potentially selling, offering or anything like that, and talking about the experience of how that all comes across. If it's negative, we'll talk pretty negatively. So the idea is, hydroponic stores, things like that, even bong stores, vape stores, all that, just kind of highlighting their products and kind of just getting them a little bit more of an audience to their core market, because we do have the traffic to kind of support it. So a little bit of ad space and that sort of thing, just kind of driving those guys in and potentially working with some of them as well on their own marketing websites and things like that.
Nice.
It's like kind of how it all come together. It's just when it does, it
does. Part of it is that like working with businesses creates good opportunities to write content in certain ways and to produce stuff. So it gives us a bit of an impetus and a reason to do things.
So you guys feel like content's your passion? Is that your...
Oh, for sure.
Definitely love the content.
Yeah.
For me, my passion probably lies in 3 things. Music, weed,
content,
business. And like business in the sense of just being able to create what I want.
Yeah,
not business in the sense of making money, just business being like the avenue for creation of content or whatever it happens to be. Might not be content, but something.
Yeah.
For me, it's almost like honing a skill or like developing a muscle. I think if you do things enough times, you get to a point where it's almost second nature. So entering into a space where I'm applying my talents and doing something I'm interested in and making it work, like that's encouraging for me to do other things.
I think that's great. I think, it's got to be one of the reasons that I started Honahlee was because I wanted to do something that I love to do.
Right. I hear that.
And that's it. If you're not doing that, why are you doing it?
I hear that.
And that's taken so long, so many years for me to figure out,
That's right.
Just working for other people, doing the same
What sort of startups did you work at before Honahlee?
So the first one I worked at was and it still exists, if you're looking to get into medical school and you want to do the graduate medical school entry exam, which is called the GAMSAT. GradReady.com.au. Michael, if you're listening to this, you owe me for this.
It's a plug.
Actually, I'm going to message him and tell him.
Give him the timestamp.
I haven't talked to him in probably 2 years, so I'm gonna message him. I think I still have him. Be like, check out this podcast.
That's so funny.
So I worked at GradReady, and I was their first operations manager. So I kind of just did everything. And that sounds a lot more glorious than it was, but it was just
I've been in a similar role.
Yeah, just pitching at Melbourne Uni, doing kind of managing the site and stuff, and then going and doing presentations on the course, and then being in the course and stuff like that. So it was good. And then
very cool.
Yeah, and then I did a digital magazine kind of startup, which didn't last, but those guys are still going now.
Digital magazine, what is the concept?
Sorry, it was like a platform that brought Coles and those kind of magazines into digital, like a really nice
I think
format.
I know the one.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like a digital coffee table kind of thing. And that started as Coles and those kind of brands, and then turned into fashion, and then kind of just didn't pan out. But those guys are now working on a company that does foot traffic tracking.
Oh, that's cool.
Through Wi-Fi and stuff.
I've seen stuff
which is quite cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I went into after that I worked in a small digital marketing agency, because then I actually started digital marketing. Before that I was kind of sales and operations, and then digital marketing agency Brossa, so a furniture company which also still exists.
Okay.
And that's where I did heavier marketing. I did conversion optimization, and that's kind of where I started learning SEO. And then I went to Tali Health, which is a company that does an app that helps children who have attention disorders.
Okay.
And so it's actually it's actually really cool. It's a gamified app that helps children improve, their different attention, all the different aspects of attention.
Right. It's like brain training on the DS.
Yeah. It's quite cool. So
cool.
That one comes and goes. I think it's still going all right. And then Honahlee. So
hell yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's a good journey.
Yeah, it's been an interesting one. I never thought I'd be working in weed like that.
Neither did I.
No, never.
It's really cool though that you've got things to contribute to that space. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just find yourself in it and off you go.
Yeah, but I feel like that's also something beautiful about the space, because pretty much anyone can contribute to it.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's so open.
Yeah,
in many
it's
ways.
It's just such early days.
Yeah,
It's,
especially here.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
In the US, it would be different, I'm sure.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
How do you put a voice in the US regarding cannabis? That'd be a
Tough,
challenge.
especially if you're in somewhere like Colorado.
Yeah, but everyone does it, right? I think anyone can do it, but then
True.
how do you get good at it?
Yes.
In America, that'd be very, very difficult. I imagine. I don't know.
Yeah. I had a discussion recently with someone, and they're like, if you want to make it, you have to go to the States. And I'm like, yeah, but who the fuck wants to compete at that level? That's just, I feel like it just takes the fun out of it.
It's such an Australian attitude.
It's such an Australian attitude.
However, we'll destroy them in the swimming. Like Michael Phelps isn't. No.
Yeah. But one colleague I used to work with, he worked in the States for a little while. I think he did maybe 6 to 12 months, something like that. And he's like, man, they love Australians there because we actually do the work. And I was like, I never regarded Americans as lazy. I never had that. Well, I mean, we've got that stereotype of the typical, but I didn't regard it in the workplace.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay. And he's like, yeah, there, if you're an Aussie, your normal work ethic is considered quite high as opposed to here. So not the case?
I mean, it probably is the case because we're quite diligent, hard work.
We've got two Americans here, so I'm...
No, she's
Aussie.
Australian.
Oh, you're Aussie. Okay, yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Like, Tom's work ethic compared to my work ethic, and maybe it's just me, is very New York, high intensity.
Yeah, maybe it depends where you're from.
Yeah, I definitely think, like America does have like everything changes very rapidly. Diverse, traveling around America, but like New York, I mean,
it's the hustle and bustle.
It's crazy. That's one of the reasons I don't want to be there anymore. Like this is Australia is great.
It's nice to be relaxed, isn't it?
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
Sure. It's kind of weird because we have a bit of both going on here in Australia. Because you have the laid back cultural attitude, but we're also very capitalist here in Australia. It's got this like bit of a tension there in some ways because we're like, hey, how you going? But get those reports done by the end of the week, kind of thing.
Yeah, but I do. There's something about like I have one of my good friends from college. Moved, I can't remember where he grew up, but then moved to New York, and he just loved it. Like he was like, I love New York, I love the intensity, the like you don't sleep, like all this crazy shit. And then he moved to LA, they're in Seattle.
Seattle, okay.
Seattle's where I was like wanting to maybe move to, like Seattle's for a period.
Great. Yeah. I think it's Seattle where he's living, and he's like, it's just so slow. Like, and I think Australia's culture is just you're right. People work hard, but it's still nowhere near certain parts of America. And
the intensity of it,
Yeah, and I remember my one of my friends moved here shortly after and lived with me, and she was trying to get a job. She's a designer, and she got a job at Melbourne Uni, and it was I can't remember, it was like a contract job. And when she found out, so she had to go in when she found out she had gotten the job, sat down, and the guy was like, okay, here's all the stuff you're going to need to do, and blah, blah. And she's like, okay, yep, no worries. Like, I'll go home and get started on it straight away. And he was like, no. Have you looked out the window? It's beautiful out today. Just relax and go to the beach or something. And she was like, I've never heard anything like that in my entire life. That's crazy. Like that. You'd never hear that.
Yeah, it's true. There's cultural difference for sure.
It's so great. It's great. It's a great thing.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I think that we got to embrace that here. The kind of attitudes that we have towards quality of life and certain things being more important than just like hard work and money.
Yeah.
Like that's part of what keeps this country sane and also probably advanced. Do you know what I mean? Like you need a bit of balance.
Yeah. Man.
Anyhow.
I agree with you. Like I see that there's such a better balance here, and I see that even in my my dad's Australian. I like anyone who knows him says he's not Australian at all, and he's very much American. But like there is in my parents. There's still that like my mom's retired, air quotes again. Still works like crazy. My dad has retired like 10 times, but still works. He does work at Monash University and stuff. And they're just always worried about something, and even in trying to retire, it is not possible. Right? There's just too much switched on all the time. Yeah. So this is a beautiful place, Australia.
I agree. We're very lucky to be here.
We are very lucky. I was just thinking about because you do have that US experience, do you still follow the US in terms of what's going on with cannabis there as much? Or?
Not as much. I would if I had more time, like we were talking about before. There's just so much going on.
Yeah,
Same for you guys. But I've just been so focused on what's happening here that I haven't.
Do you have any predictions about like a Biden federal legalization effort? It's been pushed around and like kind of.
But it's not a priority.
Yeah, that's right. It wasn't done in the first 100 days.
Yeah. After that, nothing happens.
Yeah. I feel like maybe just a tiny bit. COVID was probably a little bit more important.
Yeah.
But, I could be wrong.
Yeah, I don't know.
But if we give everybody weed,
they'll
they'll socially distance inside and not go anywhere, except for when they have to go to the shops and get.
But that's why we have Snoop Dogg's weed delivery service.
That's actually true. You have Uber Eats, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Just give everybody $2,000 checks
buds.
and massive amounts of buds. Yeah. That's it.
Surely there's got to be some sort of cannabis delivery service.
No, there is.
That
in the US?
Food
it's owned by Snoop Dogg.
Oh, is it actually?
Yeah. It like runs out of LA and stuff. I think it's in like Cali and maybe a few other areas. But it's like an Uber cannabis delivery service
with treats.
I don't know. I could assume they'd
I hope so. If he's
They'd
not,
be edibles.
if not, and this is the first conversation that's happened about it, I hope we get some revenue from that if he picks it up.
Come on, Snoop.
Yeah.
You're making enough money from your venture there.
Yeah, you can help all of us.
I wonder if
grow
he's
the cannabis
exploiting
space in
any
Australia.
workers. By
Oh, no.
I'm not going to go there. I'm sorry.
Oh god.
Look, it's just that Uber Eats doesn't have the best reputation. I'm just making a joke.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Something like that. Anyhow.
So, onto the US, really. Like, what's that situation like for you coming from New York? Like, what was that culture like? I've only ever had it depicted in movies where, you have like street corner dealers and you get like a tenth or something, or a tenth, sorry.
Yeah.
Or what is it called?
A dime bag?
A dime bag. That's the one.
A dime bag.
Is that just a gram?
Yeah, it was.
And then it was always like the interpretation I had was
a dime bag, like a dime bag was always $10.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't remember. I think the amount always varied a little bit just because.
Do you go, can I get like 5 dime bags?
I probably did at one point, yeah.
Yeah.
5 dimes, yeah.
5 dimes. Because when I went to Amsterdam, I was buying everything by the gram and I'm like, this is a bit weird, isn't it? I'm just used to at least a quarter.
Yeah.
At least a quarter, but
now, now people are buying joints. Who buys just a joint? That seems so odd.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I get it. I guess it's like, I want a single cigarette.
I absolutely
so maybe,
get why people do it.
Yeah?
It's like, you get to have a pre-rolled, and it's maybe a really...
Maybe like, a little pack
right?
of... But they sell them like really freely. I guess they sell single cigarettes, but it just doesn't make sense.
You
I'm not a cigarette smoker. Yeah,
depends
like a nice
if it's a
little
fat
packet
joint.
of 5.
That kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah.
what if it has like 2 grams in it?
Yeah.
Or even if it's a gram, it's a pretty big joint. And then I think people buy it because maybe they can't roll.
Yeah. But I'm not opposed to the buying of the joint. I just want like 5
why?
or something at a time.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. One.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. In my mind, it's like Pringles. Once you pop, the fun don't stop.
It's
True.
true.
Yeah.
And on another level, what if you just got like a bag of chopped up weed? Someone had pre-chopped it for you.
Okay.
Like you have like a tobacco comes.
Oh, like
in a pouch.
Yeah.
It's like,
would you still get all the keef off it? Like when they did it, would they do it in the bag so that at the
How
bottom?
much Turks was you losing?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
You actually you're making great points, guys. This is why this isn't done at all.
But it'd be great if it had it at the bottom of the bag.
Yeah,
because then you're winning. Like it's chopped and you're getting
Absolutely.
everything from it.
Yes, I agree.
But what
Just
I was just
concentration.
thinking about is regarding Australian culture, which we haven't caught up with yet at all, the oil scene, right?
Oh.
Oils aren't really... They're around. I've gotten plenty of oil around, but they're not a mainstream thing in Australia.
You see people putting like cannabis oil in their vape cartridges.
Yeah, I know so many tradies that do it.
I know.
Oh, man.
There's that.
But
It's a whole new way to use it.
What are your thoughts on oil and where that scene is? Do you think it's going to be as big as people are touting it to be?
So we're talking about like CBD oil? Or are we talking
THC
about
oil?
THC
We're talking
oil?
like dab, shatter, the cartridge pens.
Yeah, I think we're just so far away from recreational here that it's going to take
infancy.
ages.
Yeah.
But I think, like, personally, I'm more of an edibles oils kind of guy. Like, I stopped smoking a while ago.
Sure.
And yeah, I hope it becomes awesome because it's awesome. Like, there's no, it is. I get, my sister actually just sent me a photo of like a huge bag of gummies that she just bought in Florida, which is great. And when we went back, my friend gave us some gummies and they were awesome. You can just buy all kinds of different like treats.
That's fun.
It's great. Their drinks.
Yeah, the drinks is a big one, isn't it?
So that's cool. Like I hope it's like that.
Just because you mentioned Florida, just gave me a train of thought. Bloody, do you know like when they voted to legalize recreationally, how it failed?
In Florida,
but the vote was over 50%.
No, I didn't.
So in Florida, you have to have a 55% yes in order to get it over.
Yeah.
And it was like 52 or 3 or something. It was like, nah. And I was just like, that's actually a law for them.
Yeah.
That makes no sense. It's like the majority of people
It's not
want
majority.
this.
They don't win. The majority.
It's not a real majority.
U.S.
apparently.
political system is so interesting. It's like
crazy.
You have all of these, because of the kind of like federal state divide, you have all of these crazy differences across state lines, and then you still have the federal law which can override that state law.
Yeah.
And there are things on the books which just they make no sense.
Yeah.
But it's so fun.
It's
looking at over there,
I'm sure
like
that's
it's
what
really
everything-
interesting.
Yeah.
People care more about their politics and their legal system than ours in Australia. Like they follow that more. They're like, that's the reality show that they follow. Australian politics is boring.
Oh yeah.
It's over in Canberra. It's all.
Yeah.
Whereas in the US, you've got like,
It's
you
a
know,
vibe.
Fox
Oh,
News,
yeah.
CNN.
Oh,
You've
yeah,
got
yeah,
Donald
I get what you
Trump,
mean. Yeah.
Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Did you guys see what Donald Trump's done today, or like recently?
Is
So
it-
he's created like a new
Social
page on
media?
his. No. He just created a page on his website.
Oh my
I
god.
forgot what it was called. It's like just slash something, 4 or 5 letters. And it's just basically his Twitter feed, but it's like you can share it on Twitter or Facebook or anything, but it's him just having little whips. Like, and I'm just like, oh, okay. So he's just like figured out that his website is a useful product, like where he can't be regulated.
That's where he's going to be until he starts his own social network.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you think that'll work? Like, I'm sure he has the money to create it, maybe.
Yeah.
But do you think people would pick it up?
Yes,
The
his
power
little
mics.
section of the population will, I think.
Yeah.
Do you think about like because they already hate Facebook and the fact that whenever they say anything like slightly discriminatory
Yeah.
or even like a little bit off, sometimes you get done by the Facebook system when you don't even do anything bad.
We
But
put up
like-
a
Tell us that
420
story,
sale.
please.
Yeah, far out. We had this goddamn thing we put up for 420 on our page, and they were like, no, we're not going to post this or show anyone it. But then I see a notification 2 days later, which is like, oh, well, I'm going to personally, because you posted this, Mitch, if you do this again, I'm going to ban your account for 30 days. Not the page.
Really?
Post blocked me.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was because we were promoting a sale on the site for some stickers and that
Yeah.
sort of shit.
Come on, man.
But the
Zuckerberg, what are you up to?
its algorithm picked it up as we're trying to sell something illegal, like we're trying to sell drugs
Sure.
or something. And it's like we're
No.
not.
Yeah.
But Trump's people would go to there. I don't know if mass population would, because it'd become just an echo chamber.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But-
what I think.
I do got to wonder where Facebook is going, because right now, I really am not a fan. Everything's like
Yeah.
died on it for me. Like all I see is ads. The ads aren't even as good as they used to be. Like I'm getting crap. Pages are not getting any form of reach. Like I
Yeah.
put up something, if I'm lucky, it will reach 1,000 people.
Yeah.
If I'm lucky, and we've got over, I don't know, 11,000 followers nearly.
The only thing that's doing well on like Facebook at the moment are the groups.
Yeah.
Because even people that you know, you generally don't see their posts.
Yeah.
It's like the groups are the ones that are on your news feed.
Yeah, that's very true.
And like, I don't mind the whole groups thing. It's great. But like, honestly, I don't like the group format. It feels clunky.
And also
compared to,
clicky.
like, I'm someone who comes from a forum background, right? I've been using forums since I was like 8.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm like, this is shit. I can't see threads in a nice way. I can't like anything. And I'm just like, I don't know if Facebook's going to die. I doubt it. No way, really. Too big of a thing.
They need to
But
break it up.
something needs to happen where
Yeah.
it breaks it up, or something else comes along. Like Clubhouse is obviously coming out, but like Instagram and Twitter are already on ripping it off with like their style rooms. That it's going to be the exact same thing as Clubhouse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Silicon Valley dominance is a little bit scary, to be honest, because they're also in bed with the Democrats. It's kind of like, oh man, they've got a lot of power over what people say on their platforms, which is like the new public space.
Yeah.
And they're also pretty much, you know, making sure that their interests are supported in the government as well. So they have a lot of power.
Yeah. 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 Oh man, the social networks are crazy.
Far out.
This
And
is why we stuck to a website, right?
we feel like, yeah, exactly. When we're in this situation where, like you say, when you don't do socials, you don't get the kind of reach or
Yeah.
outreach. You kind of have to be self-sufficient from that in some ways.
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah,
I
for
was
sure.
doing stuff on YouTube, which I plan to do in the future,
Yeah.
I'd have to have like a contingency plan.
Yeah. I know,
You know what I
'cause
mean?
they can all disappear. at the
Yeah, and they can just
snap of
cut your
finger.
ad revenue, and it's all this
Yeah.
stuff, you know.
Yeah. I don't know. I think you guys have done a pretty good job with Friendly Aussie Buds, and it sounds like you got a lot more going. So
Yeah.
Thank you very
Probably
much.
a good place to kind of wrap up. I think
Yeah.
it's kind
Somewhat.
of tying in well.
yeah, sounds good. Are you gonna play with the app though? Are you gonna get
Oh,
Oh,
yeah. I was
yeah.
thinking about it.
See,
and then
that's
I
a good place to
spaced.
finish.
I think
All right,
that
all right,
is.
all right. I have to create an account. Okay.
Oh man, see, this was supposed to happen.
Well,
the
I
whole,
thought you'd just be able to. Oh, okay.
But I think
I got a 62.3.
I'm pretty sure that I feel like that's impaired. I'm pretty sure the norm is like 43. So the lower you are, I believe, the less impaired you are.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm pretty impaired.
I'm pretty sure you are.
There you go.
I'm keen to see this when I'm sober.
Yeah. Do it again. Now you know.
Well, I'll do it again later.
Yeah. I didn't mean right now.
Yeah,
I meant
definitely. I'll do it in an hour, see how I am.
Yeah.
And we'll do it in another hour when I'm more sober. And then I'll do it again before bed, and that's when I'll be absolutely wrecked. And then I'll be like, okay, yeah, he's impaired. It's just a good idea. It's actually, because like, when you think about all these impairment tests and everything, everything's tried to be a physical, like something in your system.
Yeah.
Like, till now. Like, well, at least maybe there's been other things, but this is the first time I've seen something like that. But it's like, it's such a weird answer to the solution. It used technology, but like the other things use technology, but this literally used what's in your pocket.
It really just like gives you a great idea of your reaction times as well, which is super important on the road when we're talking about impairment. Like that's probably the most important thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so, it's great.
So it's really good. We might have to put an article up about it.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Or even just do a little YouTube video.
We'll make something out of it.
How to know
Thank
if
you very
you're
much.
stoned.
That's good. I love that.
I don't know if you're that's actually, I mean, man, if you do this, I'm going to send the guy the link to this and see how it feels. I hope he's not like, look, I never want to talk to you.
We're happy that you've associated with us and taken that risk anyhow. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Alrighty. Thanks for coming on, Tom.
Thanks, guys. It's been great.
We'll hang again soon.
Sounds good. I hope so.
Woo.